Hey, I'm Kristi, and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing, the show where we talk about what really happens when marketing doesn't go according to plan. Every week, I sit down with business owners and leaders to unpack the missteps, the experiments that didn't land, and the decisions they'd probably rethink if given a do-over. But more importantly, we talk about what they learned on the other side and what you can take with you as you build your own business. Success rarely comes from getting it right the first time. It comes from taking action, making mistakes, adjusting, and showing up again and again. If you've ever wondered whether you're the only one figuring this out as you go, you're in the right place. Today, I am so excited to welcome Asija to the show. Abi is the founder of Honest Wealth Builders, where he works with business owners to identify bottlenecks, pressure test decisions, and uncover the highest leverage moves for growth. Over the past 8 years, he's built and operated a 7-figure land investing business, completed over 700 land deals, and documented the lessons from that journey through founder strategy sessions, content, and mentorship. You can learn more in his book, The Land Business. With that, I will welcome Abi to the show.
Kristi, thank you so much for having me on the show. That was a great intro. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. I am really excited for our conversation today. I always like to start off by sharing how I met my guest. So Podmatch gets a shout out for introducing Abi and I. And I'm really excited for the conversation we're going to have today. So you had mentioned that you've kind of learned a big lesson in your own marketing in terms of not responding to leads fast enough. So I would love to know kind of where you want to kick off this conversation today.
So I'll start with a story. We had a lead came in at Friday evening around 8 p.m. So this is like we're, shutting down our operations and stuff. And the guy says, well, I want to buy this property, So this was an email, by the way. So, and I was like, well, we're not answering phones anymore. This was an email. Says, oh, you have this beautiful, beautiful property in New York. I'm really interested in it. I saw that you're charging $2,000 down payment. I'm ready to pay. Where do I need to sign? So that was the email, like a hot lead ready to be closed. And it was 8 p.m. We're like, well, we'll take care of it Monday morning. He's not going anywhere. So Monday morning, we give him a call, right? And the guy is like, oh, who is this? I was like, well, you sent us an email. You wanted to buy this property. I was like, what property? I was like, oh, the one in New York. You remember? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, I don't have money anymore. I was like, what are you talking about? That was like Friday evening. You don't have like whatever $2,000 anymore. It's like, yeah. So on the weekend, I went to Walmart. They had this really awesome deal on this like big screen TV. It was like literally like a $3,000 TV. I got it for $1,200. So yeah, I don't have any more money. And we lost the sale. And that's when I realized if we would have responded to him on Friday when he sent that email and we just called him back and closed it, we would have made that sale, right? So that was like a painful lesson for us, that speed to lead is so much important than all the other things you learn in marketing and sales, right? Like objection handling and, like if someone says, well, I need to check with my wife, how do you handle that? Or, oh, I don't have the money, or the price is too expensive. How do you handle that, right? So all those marketing and sales lessons you usually learn like is around objection handling. But in reality, after doing like 750 plus deals, the biggest lesson I learned was speed to lead trumps every other sales metric.
Interesting. Okay, so wait a minute. I really need to ask questions about this specific example. So how was it that this guy was he was purchasing land, or he was like gonna rent a property or something?
So let me add more context. So most of our buyers buy on owner financing. So we list it as owner finance land. So they put like a down payment and then they make monthly payments over the next few years.
So he spent his down payment on the television. That's what happened. I'm like, how do you compare buying a television and buying a property? Exactly. I'm so confused. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks for the clarifying question. That makes now hopefully everyone understands.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, so interesting. So I'm curious, have you had other instances like that as well? I mean, it doesn't right, to most of us, I think getting an email at 8 o'clock on a Friday night and waiting until Monday is like a normal, if we have good boundaries as business
Right.
owners to say, like, we're taking the weekend off, spend time with the family, like, I feel like that's a reasonable response time. But have you had more instances like that where it's like we didn't respond fast enough and we lost it?
So, a lot of times people won't tell you. Like, a lot of times people will buy, like, this guy told us that he bought a TV. A lot of the other buyers, they won't even pick up the phone if they don't, that, oh, yeah, I
Mm,
don't have the money anymore. So, we don't get that feedback very often. So,
yeah.
the way I learned it was important, apart from this incident, is that once we figured it out that speed to lead was important, we literally had to hire 3 more people in our team just to meet that metric, right? Because before we were not
Interesting.
meeting this metric, not even close, right? So right now our metric is respond within 60 seconds. We don't always hit it, but we try to hit 60 seconds. And there's been like studies done, there's been research done that if you don't respond within 60 seconds, you lose 80% of the chance of closing them, which is like ridiculously high. So if you
Yes.
think about it, if someone is on the phone, a lot of times people are browsing. Like this is like land is think of it like buying on Amazon, right? Because you can add to cart, checkout, like because a lot of people, 80% of the people are buying on owner financing. Even someone buying on cash, they can check out online as in like, oh, I'm going to place a deposit and then I'm going to close with a
Hmm.
title company, right? So if you do not respond within that 60 seconds, they just move on. They might go to a competitor. So if you think about how people buy, it's like the closest example would be going on Zillow, right? If you're buying a house, you don't just click on request more information on one house, right? You go
Yeah.
request, 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 request. Oh, I'm going to check out these 7 houses kind of thing, right?
Right.
It's the same with land. Land, you don't just do request more information or want more information or is this available, right? That kind of thing. Like Facebook Marketplace, right? You don't
Hmm.
just go on one listing and do that. You do it across multiple
True.
listings. So if
Yeah.
I have 5 competitors, just think about this example, right? If I have 5 competitors and my competitor is responding within 60 seconds and I respond after 48 hours, they might just close that lead. And by the time we get to them, they're like, yeah, no, thank you. I already bought land from someone else. So it's so important. Like literally,
Yeah.
you could look it up. There have been studies done, and it's ridiculous. Like if you don't respond within 60 seconds, people just move on.
So I'm curious though, is that an industry specific
No,
metric or like
no.
that's just buyer behavior in a
It's
general sense?
Yeah, it's buyer behavior. Like I don't know if you have noticed this, but if you go to like a lot of the companies that are like Fortune 500 companies, like QuickBooks or CarMax or like these big companies where they know they have high competition. Like if you have
Mhm.
like a unique piece of property in say Western New York and there's like, oh, you can't find this property comes on the market once every 10 years, then of course, yeah, who cares? You're going to take your time to respond because I'm sure that you have a lot of demand. But if you are selling a commodity product, like where,
Mhm.
oh, I have this quarter acre lot in Putnam County, Florida, and they're like 7,000 quarter acre lots in Putnam County, Florida. If the lead chooses you to get more information and you don't respond, it's like buying
Right.
shoes or buying something online, right? Buying a
Yeah.
camera. It's not just your store that sells that camera. They can just go to Amazon, they can go to B&H, they can go to like, Best Buy, right? So if they came to your
Yeah.
store and they requested more information or they want to buy and you don't respond, then they're just gonna move on. So it's so
Yeah.
important in a commodity style business.
Yeah. That is interesting. And I guess I'm thinking about it too from the standpoint of I think probably the most of the listeners of this show are service-based business owners where trust is really important. And so I'm curious if in the land business is trust really a factor or is it truly like if I'm buying land I can go to anybody and if you don't get back to me I'm just going to move on to the next one because it's just land. It doesn't really matter.
Who I well, if I ask you a question, like who would you rather trust? A seller who responds within 60 seconds or a seller who responds after 72 hours?
Yeah.
Personally, I would trust the person responding right away because I know they have their act together. I
Yes.
trust their business because clearly they have back end operations in place that they are able to respond to me right away. Clearly, they care about their customer. So
Yeah.
it's you are the trust signal is also something that you're indirectly, signaling, right, when you respond fast.
Yeah, that makes
Also,
sense.
when people have a burning problem, I'll give you an example from my own life. So I moved to this new house. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm super busy. I don't have time to deal with, house stuff. So I had this HVAC system that needed replacing. And I went to Yelp and I looked at, in this brand new area, I don't know anything about it. So I just looked at the top reviewed companies and I requested 4 quotes, right? So the first one, second one, and so the first one didn't respond. Second one, I submitted a quote and I got a call back right away. This was less than 30 seconds, not even 60 seconds.
Mm.
And they were like, oh, this, we can come out later today, get this looked at, give you an estimate. I was like, okay, yeah. In the meantime, I'll shop around. Yeah, you can send the guy. So I scheduled something for them to come out. I reached out to the third person and the fourth person, right? So the first one never responded, second one never, third one never responded, fourth one never responded, second one responded right away. So the guy comes in at 6 p.m. He gives me a quote. I do a quick Google search. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. And then I hire that person. And then
Mm-hmm.
next day, I get responses from shop number 1, shop number 3, and shop number 4, and I don't even pick up because I already hired someone.
Yes. Abby, it's so interesting that you're bringing up this example because I think I have heard this. It's coming back to me now. It was like when I was earlier in my entrepreneurship journey, and I remember someone saying to me like they were surprised that I got back to them. Like they sent me I don't even remember the specific instance, but let's say that they sent me an email and I responded to them and was like, "Hey, let's hop on a call, to talk about my services and what your needs are." And they were like, "You wouldn't believe how many people just don't respond. They don't
Yeah.
get back." And it sounds you had the same experience in, hiring an HVAC company. And it's honestly crazy to me as a business owner to think that businesses can stay in business by not responding to people right away.
Yeah. Because the potential customer has a burning problem that needs to be solved. If you are not going to solve that problem, they're going to get it solved by someone else. Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the Fortune 500 companies, a lot of big companies, they understand that and they put in extra resources just to meet this metric, right? And
Yeah.
small businesses, the reason they stay small is because they don't really focus on this, which is like one of the number one predictors or one of the important predictors of how fast you scale as a company, right? Because say you're a coach, right? You're coaching on providing business mentorship. If I'm looking up coaches and I find Kristi as one of the coach options, right? And I send you a message, clearly I have a burning problem that I'm dealing with in my business, right? If I send it
Hmm.
to Kristi, I send it to Jennifer, I send it to John, right? Whoever responds first has the first dibs on my business. So why wouldn't
Yeah.
you be the first one to respond?
Right. Yeah. And I'm curious too, Abby, like you really have me thinking about this. Like a typical lead coming in for me books either they send me a message on LinkedIn, they send me an email, or they've already just gone ahead and booked time on my calendar through my website. And so I'm thinking about it in terms of like, what could I even do differently?
Yeah.
I'm curious about the different like tactics that you see, right? Because so many websites now have like bots, right? And so you come to the website and a bot pops up and like, hey, what questions can I answer for you? Like, what are some of those different ways that business owners should be thinking about? How can we respond faster in the moment to people because they have this burning desire, like you're saying?
Right. So I won't use a bot because we're a human first company and that's our competitive advantage.
Love
When we
that.
hear about our competition using bots, I say please use them even more extensively,
Yeah.
because we're like that's how we're like a boutique company and we want them to get human experience even if it's like an offshore virtual assistant, but as long as they're a human, I rather
Yeah.
prefer that over like an AI bot.
I
Um,
love that.
the other thing we do is if someone, so we also have a Calendly option people can schedule. So if someone schedules 4 days out, so there's another research, you can look it up. Usually, if someone books either today or within 48 hours is the most or the best chances of them showing up to the call. Anything outside of 48 hours, it's just like a sliding slope, because then your show
Interesting.
up rate keeps on going down. If someone books a month out, it's unlikely that they're going to show up. But if someone
Mm,
is like booked for later today, there's a very high likelihood because they're clearly dealing with an issue, right? So what we do, if someone books on our calendar and it says like 4 days out, we call as soon as we get that event, we call them and say, "Oh, we have John. Thanks so much for booking the call. I see that you booked for Thursday, but I actually have something available later today. Would you like to move forward and like pull forward to that? You
yeah.
know?" And if they say, "Oh, no, I'm busy today," then we'll like, all right. Well, I tomorrow I have 12 available, 4 available, 7 available, and we'll have some kind of an scarcity slash urgency angle to it. Like if they're say, "Oh,
Hmm.
they're looking for at a given property," we'll be like, "Well, we're getting a lot of leads on that property and we don't want you to lose that property," which we're not lying, which we get leads on all our properties. So
Yeah.
as long as you nudge them into moving
Hmm.
their appointment forward, because we know for fact, for sure, that the faster we talk to them, the sooner we start a relationship with them, and the sooner
Hmm.
we get an opportunity to delight them with with our excellent customer service.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that point. I think that that's incredibly helpful for business owners to consider. Like, look at your existing processes and how people come to you as a new lead, and what can you do to speed up that process. I love the fact that you know all of this data. I'm a huge data person, so the fact that you know these like drop off rates and the rates of someone actually showing up depending on how far out they book, like that's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, the no shows are such a big problem. I will tell you. So I've been going on podcasts to promote my book, The Land Business, right? And literally I've had 4 instances out of like say 50, four, so almost 10% of people who invited me to their show and they didn't even show up to their show.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, oh, maybe it's me, maybe I did something wrong. So but then I talked to like my fellow uh you know uh podcast guests, that to ask them if they were having the same experience. They're like, oh yeah, that happens all the time, at least. One guy recently basically said 4 out of 50, that's it. I'm at like 10 out of 50. one
Oh
out
my
one out of 5 people are
gosh.
don't show up to their own shows. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That's
So yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so that's show up rate is such a big problem, and the only way to tackle that is to
To
be
speed it
like,
up.
yeah, speed it up, call them right away and give them some incentive to join. Tell them, well, we'll
Yeah.
have this prepared for you, or have something, have get them excited to be joining that event, because you're going to do
Yeah.
something like custom for them, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be like, oh yeah, so for example, so if say it's an HVAC company that wants help increasing their revenue. So they're booking a call with Kristi and they book, say, 3 days out. You call them, or your assistant will call them and say, well, Mr. HVAC company, we looked at I see that you booked for Friday. I have something open today, later today, and we're really excited to help you. We looked up your websites, and we already, I already discussed with Kristi. So there are like 4 major ways we can help you. We're thinking of helping you with your marketing. I saw some improvements on your potential improvements on your conversion rate, and I also saw that speed to lead might be an issue. Like so you say, get them
Yeah.
excited that
Provide that value.
these are the things we will be discussing, and they're like, oh
Hmm.
wow, this company is great. Yeah, let's actually move that forward. Let's do it later today.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and like you said before, it's like that you want to be the first to start the relationship with them so that it gives you the
Yeah.
leg up in case they are contacting other people and waiting for 3, 4, 5 providers to all get back to them. The sooner you can make that touch point, the sooner you can open up that line of communication and start building that human relationship, the better
Yeah.
off you are.
I think the reason, this is my theory, But I think the reason a lot of small businesses don't do this is because they fundamentally don't understand that there are essentially two ways to make money in a business, right? The first way is to you keep spending more money on ads and marketing to keep on acquiring new leads. And the second way is to make your existing customers more valuable, right? So the problem is that every year, the cost to acquire a new lead keeps on going up. So, like Facebook
Mm-hmm.
ads, Google ads, Meta
Yep.
ads, like they just keep on going up, right? They don't go down, right? So it's going to be more expensive for you to acquire a new customer next year versus having a customer this year, which means
Yeah.
if you shifted your focus from getting more and more leads to making your existing customers more valuable, like so increasing their LTV, lifetime value,
Yep.
then it forces you to think your customers in terms of building relationships,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you are
Yep.
starting a relationship, right, and you are giving them a delightful experience, you have a good offer, you have like a stack, you have upsells, downsells, and all other offers that you can provide, like essentially like helping them solve more and more problems, then you might not even need as many new customers, right?
Right.
Because you can just make your existing customers more and more valuable because they keep coming back for more,
Yes.
right? So I
Yep.
feel like these small businesses don't really understand the concept of LTV, right? And they focus on CAC, cost to acquire a customer, but the
Mm-hmm.
thing is the CAC keeps on going up every year.
Yeah. That's such a great point. Such a great point. So, Abby, I want to go back to the phrase that you used earlier, speed to lead. What is it that business owners need to remember about that phrase and what they need to be thinking about in terms of their own business?
I would say, well, the instructions to my staff in my company are very clear. We respond to every single lead, or we try our best to respond to every single lead within 60 seconds. If you do just that, you're going to see an increase in revenue. As simple as that.
Yeah. So the idea is that turnaround time from however
Yeah,
that lead reached out to you having a first touch point back to them.
exactly. And okay, so yeah, that you bring up an interesting point. So it's not just, oh, I send them an email and I met speed to lead. So the best way to convert a person is to meet them in person. But obviously that's not, feasible. The second best way is through doing a Zoom call like this. The third
Mhm.
best way is over a phone call. The fourth best way is over email or chat, right? So we always shoot for what's the highest conversion event. The highest conversion event is in person, which we can do because we're a national company. So the next highest conversion event would be a Zoom call or like you know, or a FaceTime video call, right? So that's what we
Right.
shoot for. So if you can somehow make your sales pipeline that the lead books in like a face-to-face call with you as the first touch point, you're already ahead of like 90% of the companies because
That's
you know
yeah.
you have that personal relationship starting like as quickly as possible.
Right. That's super helpful. That's a nice like hierarchy way to think about it. Like best case
Yeah,
scenario, second best, and then down from there.
right.
So
Because if
that's
you
super
think about it,
helpful.
like if someone is literally like you come to my shop and we discuss, right, and it'll be so much easier to sell to you because I can see you. You're not going to be playing with your phone while you're talking to me in person,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
it's so much easier if
Focus.
you're 100%, because sales is essentially education, right? You're educating the customer, right?
Yep.
You're not Tesla. Like, Tesla is one of the fewer companies that they don't need salespeople, right? Because they have like so many influencer, like such a great influencer marketing campaign that there are like
Yep.
millions and millions of Tesla videos online, and you pretty much know everything about the model that you're about to buy, and you don't even need to call Tesla or talk to a salesperson. You just go online and add to cart checkout on a car. Think
Yeah.
about it. On a car, you're doing add to checkout, right?
Yes.
So sales is essentially education, right? So if we can educate them, and the best way to educate them is in a in-person setting or a Zoom setting, because they're paying attention to you. They're not paying with their phone, right? And it's the fastest way to get them educated. And once they're
Yep.
educated, they're like, oh, I see. So I'll get all these benefits. And oh, it's going to take this long to achieve this XYZ result. Okay, perfect. Where do I sign?
Yeah. I love that. And that's exactly how I approach marketing with my clients as well. Marketing is about building relationships and education and all that like helpful content that solves problems for people. So I love that message so much. Avi, our time is flying by here. As we get ready to wrap up our conversation, I would love to know if there is one last piece of advice that you want to give.
Yeah, I mean, I usually talk about goodwill a lot, building goodwill in the marketplace, because I fundamentally believe that if you, as a business owner, want to make more money, you have, so the equation is money equal to goodwill times number of offers. So the more goodwill you have in the marketplace, it allows you to make more offers, and the more offers you make, the more revenue you generate. So just a very quick example, say Kristi, you and I, we have a coffee shop, right? In like, say in a small town, there's no Starbucks. People come to you, they say want to buy coffee, whatever, latte, small latte, and then you have a nice conversation, and you say, well, you should try the croissant, you should try this, you should try the coffee beans, right? And you make like 5 offers per each conversation, right? They come to my shop and I only make 1 offer, right? I'll say, oh, they want small latte, and then I serve it to them and I say, thanks for coming in. So you can imagine, after say 100 people come to your cafe and 100 people come to my cafe, at the end of the year, if I brought in $100,000 in revenue, your revenue might be at 600, 700, 800,000, because you're making so many different offers, right? So if you want to make more money as a business owner, make more offers, but also make sure you have a lot of goodwill in the marketplace. People trust you, just like we talked about trust. People know, like, and trust you. So it allows you to make those offers. And that's how you scale your revenue.
I love it. That's such great advice. Avi, you've shared so many helpful tips, so many helpful insights and data points. I really, really appreciate you and your willingness to come on the show. Very lastly, how can people learn more about you, the work you do, and your book that you have out?
Yeah, so I have this book called The Land Business. It's on Amazon, and you can check it out. And also, I have a podcast, Honest Wealth Builders, where so it's not an interview podcast. It's essentially like set up as a strategy session. So I bring in other business owners, and we have a founder to founder strategy session, and we brainstorm ideas and how we can help their business get to the next level. So check it out at honestwealthbuilders.com.
Love that. Thank you so much, Avi. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. Until next time.